Hi, I'm Jeffrey Davis. I'm host of Radio Entrepreneurs, and we continue to stream stories of leadership, entrepreneurship, how people are dealing with this economy in real time. And our next guest, Laura Sauter, founder and senior brand strategist at Agency Bel. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Tell us about Agency Bel.
Well, I just turned 23 on June 1st, and I am a reluctant entrepreneur, so I'm happy to share some of my stories. But Agency Bel is a brand strategy and design boutique firm offering companies about 5 to 50 million a look-see into who they want to be when they grow up. The companies that come to me are typically seasoned companies that have been around for 15, 20 years, and something has either become tired or irrelevant in their business, and they come to me for a little bit of a shakeup. And I help kind of redirect them and give them a roadmap to that successful path that they are looking for.
That's great. So, how long you've been doing this? You say reluctant entrepreneur?
It's 23 years this month. And yes, I moved to Massachusetts with every intention to go back to corporate. I moved here with a 14-week-old baby, and I left Michigan, where I had been the corporate creative director of Borders Books. So when I moved here, I had, like I said, every intention to go back to a traditional job. But September 11th happened, and the position I was offered was reneged due to a hiring freeze due to this terrible tragedy. And at the time, I had two mortgages. I hadn't sold my Michigan house. And I said, hey, I'm creative. Let's do this thing. So I started my business out of my house, and that was 23 years ago, and I haven't looked back.
Well, that's the reluctant entrepreneur. A great story. Do you have a specific philosophy about how you look at brand development?
Um, so I guess, I mean, in terms of philosophy, I think it's important for everyone to realize that it's not what we say it is, it's what they say it is. So, and when I say they, it's the customers, the consumers, anyone who's looking at your brand. And if we've done our job right, what they see is what we want them to see. But it truthfully is that mirror reflection of what the marketplace is saying you are or what you aren't. And that's really important to say. I mean, we can do all put our best practices in, and I feel confident, of course, with my skills, but it is what the marketplace says your brand is. And that's important for my customers to understand.
Right.
Consistency is very important.
Uh, do you find the marketplace very competitive? I know you have a real branded background. A lot of people who go into marketing don't necessarily have a branded background.
For myself, is it competitive? I
Yes.
think I think it is. I mean, I was a professor for 11 years of my 23 in business. And, now, of course, my students have grown up and gone into business for themselves. And, I'm now 30 years, in my career. Someone can have 5 years of experience and be, a brand guru, I guess, if they want to say that. I'm parts of many different LinkedIn and Facebook groups, and people are popping up saying, oh, I can do this for you and I can do that for you. And they've had a couple of years experience. So of course it's crowded. Now, of course, there's the 1-800, logos.com websites, etc. And of course, AI can now generate symbols and expressions for your company. I don't think there's anything quite like the lived experience, though, and I am very proud now that I'm a more seasoned professional that I think that holds my own.
Right. Uh, Technology, a main part of how your business evolves in terms of your delivery options?
Of course, I mean, I am. I started my education years ago as the press beds were moving out and the computers were moving in. The first year I was a professional, Wired magazine came out. So I was always on the cusp of technology. I loved being a professor so that I'd keep, fresh with all those new tools. I I think that print is still around. I mean, I produce a lot of digital deliverables, but as recently as this week, I delivered it's an interesting concept, but a carbon offset product. But they really wanted something physical to give, even though it's a ephemeral offering, they really wanted to give their clients something physical. So it was a gift card with a wrap, and it was more of like a collectible, if you will. So I think that print or printed products or physical things are kind of now special things that set people apart in this digital world. And I do offer both. But again, many parts of what I offer is the digital.
So you've hinted a little bit of your background, which sounds very interesting. So I like to say, let's get into the Wayback Machine, and let's
Sure.
start with your career path that led you to Agency Bell, and get a sense of how it evolved to where you are now, the reluctant entrepreneur.
Yes. So I really did start, well, for a hot minute, my first job was Nomad Multimedia in New York City. But my real first job was magazines. So I worked at Hearst Magazines, one of the biggest publishers, for 3 years. First at Town and Country Magazine, which was 150 years old. That's that year that I worked for them, or 2 years. And then House Beautiful, which turned 100. And so I really got a strong footing in what I'd consider the gridded design systems, really high quality typography, really incredible photography. I worked with some of the best photographers on the planet. And as you can probably expect, even though I really wanted to be a magazine designer, I got a little constricted by the format. And so I went into the design world. I worked for a couple of design firms, and really got started first with Lucent Magazine. Lucent Technologies was the AT&T, the former AT&T. So they had an employee magazine. That was my first gig with the design firm, and evolved more into the identity space, branded identity space, getting to work with logos, typography, the colors, the organized systems for collateral, and eventually moved into more of the global brand consultancy space, working on bigger projects like banks and airlines. And then I moved into corporate. So that was interesting to see, what my clients had been going through. And I ran over 1,200 stores nationwide for the book retailer Borders Books, and ran a team of production folks, designers, and visual merchandisers who made the stores, help sell our products.
Well, an interesting background, and clearly very experienced brand marketer. Preferred target type accounts that you like to work on?
Well, as you can imagine, with my background at House Beautiful, I definitely was inspired by the aesthetic products that we were sharing with our market. So I started my business with a plethora of furniture design manufacturers, lighting designers, etc. So I really love working with products for the home and companies that work with those. So I also work with interior designers, architects, landscape architects. So I would say home and health is the other area. I started my business here in Massachusetts, where there is a lot of biotech, pharma, etc. And one of my first clients was Biogen. So I love working with health companies, but that could also be a chiropractor or products for health, like yoga mats or power bars. So I work with home and health a lot, but I am industry agnostic. Here in Massachusetts, there's a lot of financial services, of course, but I work nationwide as well. I mean, I helped brand a private school in the Midwest. They were turning, I think, 100. So big anniversaries like that is another really good signal for a rebrand, where you're coming up to a milestone where you could be seen as old, but they refresh themselves to become more relevant and new to the next generation.
Well, Laura, very interesting and very professional background. If somebody else would like to know more or connect with you at Brand Strategist, how would they find you?
Well, my website is Agency Bel with one L, and there is a link to connect with me for a free strategy call, or of course just email. And on LinkedIn, Laura Sauter. Those are the two easiest ways to find me.
That's great. And we hope you stay connected in our network at Radio Entrepreneurs, and we get to see you again. Thanks for being on today. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. Be well.
Remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.